A nurse breaks down in tears when a wolf unexpectedly barges into the hospital. The hospital's door was breached by a ferocious wolf whose overwhelming presence sent shockwaves through the hallways. The employees and patients were terrified and perplexed by the sight of the fierce animal. The nurses dispersed as they sought cover from the intimidating wolf. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Emily, a young nurse, was one of them. She stared with frightened eyes and shaking hands as the wolf skulked through the hospital, its ferocious stare cutting through the confusion. But Emily saw something strange. The wolf had something in its mouth. Emily saw that the wolf was carrying something, so she attempted to calm everyone down. Although it appeared to be a little animal, it wasn't a wolf. Facility security started evacuating the facility right away since they couldn't afford to let the wolf injure anyone. Since this was her one opportunity to truly change things, Emily made the decision to act independently. Emily was able to confine the little animal and the wolf to a room. The wolf then grew extremely hostile and attempted to leap at Emily. To show the wolf that she was there to assist it, Emily made an effort to shrink herself. She was aware that the wolf was in dire need of assistance, either from her or a vet. Fortunately for Emily, the wolf appeared to relax. She made the decision to ask a willing doctor for assistance. Emily begged the physicians to simply follow her, but they all appeared hesitant to assist. They informed her that in order to get the wolf out of the hospital, they had phoned animal control. She eventually located a decent surgeon who was a close friend and was prepared to accompany her to observe the situation. They heard wailing as they approached the chamber. The wolf's apparent great care for the little creature's welfare suggested a close bond between them. When Emily attempted to approach, the wolf immediately flashed its fangs. Emily didn't know what to do and soon understood that this wouldn't be simple. Nevertheless, she persisted, and somehow the wolf let her approach the animal. The thing appeared to be quite feeble, but Emily had no clue what it may be. She was aware that they needed to consult an expert in animals, ideally a veterinarian, but the closest one was still a long way out. She immediately contacted the veterinarian, who, after hearing her account of the circumstances, became silent for a few seconds. Emily sensed that something was seriously off. Even though he didn't know what it was or how to treat, the veterinarian asked her to describe the creature. The wolf abruptly resumed howling after realizing something was wrong. Just then, a few policemen rushed into the room to see how everyone was doing. She commanded them to retreat. The wolf then took an unexpected step and appeared to urge Emily to follow it as it made its way to the entrance. Emily didn't know what was happening, but she couldn't help but notice the wolf and felt a feeling of urgency. She realized it was going toward the forest and followed it outdoors. In an effort to let him know where she was going, she promptly summoned a kind animal specialist from the nearby animal sanctuary. He warned her not to pursue the wolf mindlessly. Emily hesitated at first, but she told her buddy David where she lived. She chose to follow the wolf into the thick woodland, as she couldn't wait for David. Emily's anxiety increased as they traveled farther. She thought someone was watching her. Emily felt tense and was about to turn around when she heard a loud sound. Her phone called at that very moment, but she hardly had any signal. On the other line, she could hear the veterinarian, who sounded like he was telling her to return. She was aware that the call was urgent. Emily started to question her decisions as the wolf gave her a frantic look. Should she turn around or head for the sounds? Emily decided to follow the sounds, mustering all her bravery. With the jungle growing denser, she felt as though she was getting closer. She was aware that someone was watching her at that very moment. Then, hearing a voice calling to her from a distance, she went pale. Adrenaline-fueled, Emily first failed to identify the speaker. She looked up, however, and saw that it was David, who had fortunately caught up to her. But the wolf didn't recognize David and charged at him. Just before collision, Emily placed herself between David and the wolf after realizing what was occurring. She was relieved when the wolf stopped attacking, as if it realized David was there to assist. It swung around, suggesting that David and Emily should follow. Still in disbelief over the unexpected charge, David asked Emily what was happening. Emily said that she was unaware of what they were following or the seriousness of the situation. David followed closely as they moved on toward the origin of the agitated sounds, which got louder with each step. They arrived at the noise's origin at last. It originated from an ancient well, perhaps from a falling object. The wolf made it clear that it needed Emily and David's assistance in this situation. They could clearly hear something coming from the well, but they couldn't see anything because it was dark. David was fortunate enough to have some rope with him. In order to rappel down, he assured Emily that it was sturdy enough to support him. Emily paused, unsure of her own power and aware that things may go horribly wrong. Emily held onto the rope, but David inhaled deeply and stepped over the edge. The rope wasn't knotted securely enough around her waist, so she became alarmed as it started to slide out of her hands. Abruptly, she heard a loud boom and David shout. After rapidly turning on his phone's flashlight and pointing it in the direction of the sound, David was able to identify the source of the noise. He yelled to Emily what he was witnessing after spotting more of the little creatures. She understands that there were others besides the one in the hospital. David managed to bring every animal to the surface after around 15 minutes. Now they were looking at 5 creatures in all. They needed to transport them to the hospital securely. Even though David and Emily were only able to carry 2 apiece, they still had 1. But then they understood that the wolf might also carry one of them. After gathering up the animals, they began to flee. They were instructed to turn over the animals and wait in the surgery room waiting area when they got to the hospital. Under no circumstances could they enter the room. The veterinarian eventually unlocked the door and let them to enter. He informed them that they had saved the animals and that they had arrived just in time. Emily looked at the veterinarian and demanded an explanation. These creatures appear to be a mix between a wolf and a wild dog. These puppies are quite uncommon, but he was unable to determine how they got into the well. Emily was adamant that they be taken to a safe location and not let to return to the wild. Fortunately, there is still space for these creatures at the local animal refuge where David works. Even the puppies remember Emily and David, and Emily now frequently visits the wolf. They show her a lot of affection. In order to save the animals that day, she is glad she decided to face her worries and follow the wolf into the forest. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.